always a problem. I have one more single warm-up and I hit the platform in about 10 or 15 minutes. I'm trying to time that out. 4 singles left to do for squats. I think I can survive.
What's good, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Marcus, and this is the recap video for my last meet this past Saturday, Veterans Day of 2023. Overall, everything went as well as I could hope and expect, with a few minor snafus that I'll get into. And in that intro, you heard me say I had 10 to 15 minutes left before my squat. That was absolutely wrong. I got my flight order wrong. This was an afternoon session, so I thought it would be a little swifter, more efficient, because they had a morning session that went through already. I thought there was going to be 1, 2, 3 banging it out since we were starting lifts at 3 o'clock. There were 3 flights in the afternoon, and I thought I was in the second, but it turns out I was at the beginning of the third, and that was my first mistake, miscalculating how much time I needed to warm up, which typically takes me about 30 minutes to get from my first warm up to 1 rep max. I was prepared to actually get into the tail end of the second flight, hit my last warm up right after that segment, and I thought I had about 10 or 15 minutes left, but it turned out to be more like 35 minutes from my last warm up to my first squat attempt, which was far too long. And because of the knee pain that I was experiencing, I couldn't afford to take any additional warm ups, not even with a bare bar, because I really didn't want to jeopardize what was going on with my knee. I knew I had 3 squat lifts to do, and I was pretty sure I'd be able to get through those 3. Even if there was some pain, I still had high hopes. The only thing I could do was to sit around and wait 35 minutes. Understanding that, I was definitely a little bit nervous hitting that platform, apprehensive about all that time that it took me to get to the platform. Keep my fingers crossed. I was going to stick to the plan, make sure I focused on my technique, had the commands, went down, started to come back up. And for some reason, for the first time ever, not just at meets, not at the gym, not even here at home, I lost balance and had to step back on the ascent of the squat. That's 3 red lights. So that first squat didn't count. It wasn't a strength issue. I knew it wasn't really a depth issue either. It was a technicality, just like in my first meet where I didn't wait for the rack command. I was repeating history by missing my first squat due to a technicality. I was bummed by that, but I knew it wasn't strength, so I went to the judges' table and gave them my next lift. Because of the knee pain, I was a little reluctant to stick to my targets, which were 160, 170, and 180 kilos. So from that first missed squat, I decided to jump up to 167.5 and then make my last attempt 177.5 instead of 180. Second squat came up. Everything went much better this time. My technique was fine. I had a last squat maybe 10 to 15 minutes prior, so I wasn't as cold as I was the first time. The balance was not an issue. Down and up, good squat, no problem. So now I'm feeling better. My psyche's back on a positive note, moving forward.
Yeah.
Third squat attempt comes up, and again, this wasn't my target of 180, which I my game plan going into the meet, but I was still happy with that selection because my last PR was 380. That's what I hit here in the house maybe 2 weeks prior to the meet, and that was a bit shaky coming up. But because of the knee, I played it safe, no problem. I hit the squat, came up. It wasn't a grind, there wasn't any knee shaking or anything. Thankfully that was done, and on to the next lift. So having just hit my last and final squat, with a PR of 391 pounds, I now had some positive momentum going into bench press, which typically is the most challenging lift to me due to the bicep issues. I haven't really been struggling and things have been going well. I didn't think I'd hit any new PRs, PR in bench being 290 pounds in May of 2022. However, I still wanted to target that range. Final bench press was going to be 292 pounds or 132.5 kilos. So my planned jumps were going to be 117.5, 125, and then 132.5 for 7.5 kilo jumps. Thought I had about a 65-70% chance of hitting 292 because of the way training had been going.
Here we go, Marcus.
Got to the platform, asked for the handoff, which I did in the last meet. Everything was fine, got set up. Now when the handoff went, technically I was still over the J-cups. So once I went to set my lats into position, I came into contact with the J-cup and I was not given the start command yet. And once I realized what was going on, I moved the bar forward and waited the command. Command came, hit the bench press, no problem, got it up, on to the next one after 3 white lights.
Here we go, Marcus!
Now, I get back, I'm still mentally prepared. This time I decide I'm not going to go for the handoff because of that issue with the J-cups. Shook off the handoff. Set myself up, got through the lift, no problem, 3 white lights. It was slightly shaky toward the end, so started to doubt whether or not I'd be able to hit the 3rd one, but I wasn't gonna let it really affect me, and still went back to the platform for my 3rd and final bench press with some confidence. Now, unfortunately, just like I repeated history in squats, I repeated history again in bench press, where I actually failed the 3rd lift, this one due to strength, just as I did in my last meet. But all in all, I'm still happy with the fact that my 2nd attempt was still a PR compared to my last meet. Move on to deadlifts. Again, small venue, tight space. There were only literally 3 platforms. The last 2 were really just rubber tile mats set up in place instead of a deadlift platform. So it was kind of chaotic back there. Everyone's trying to jump in. People in my flight were warming up with other flights, which I was confused by, but I had to go with the flow, got the warm-ups, and I was still feeling good and confident. And again, deadlifts being my best lift, I was confident going into this one, even though a few weeks prior, I missed my 405 attempt. That was odd, but I wasn't going to let it deflate my confidence because I knew deadlifts had been going so well all along. I was still confident that I was going to hit a PR on the platform. Instead of targeting the 425 that my estimated 1 rep max said I should be able to hit, I was going to go a little more conservative and aim for 419 pounds. So my 3 attempts were going to be at 170, 180, and 190. Which would still give me a PR. And sure enough, I got to the platform for my first lift. Things went off without a hitch. Easy peasy, 3 white lights. The 2nd attempt comes up at 180. If I hit that, I'm technically getting a PR on the platform because my last meet PR was 177.5. So my 2nd attempt was already going to surpass that. Got on the platform, everything went well, easy peasy, 3 white lights, on to the last lift. There we go. It was late in the day, it was probably after 7:30, and it turned out the lifter before me was a no-show to the platform for whatever reason. So I just assumed I was next on the platform. The weights I saw on the bar looked proper and thought it was right, got on the platform, mentally prepared to go, and they flagged me off saying, nope, there's something wrong. Then I realized I jumped the gun and got on the platform before I should have. But that's because, again, that lifter before me was a no-show. Got back on the platform. Still ready to go, still psyched. Hit that final deadlift for a new PR of 419 pounds at 180 kilos. And I was a happy camper because now I definitely had a new PR. Squat PR was roughly 30 pounds better than my last meet. Deadlift PR was almost 30 pounds better than my last meet. And my bench press was obviously a PR for my last meet. All in all, I surpassed my last competition by almost 80 pounds, which is fantastic. So I really can't complain that I missed my 3rd bench. I'm going to come back stronger, continue training, continue using Evolve AI because I think it's fantastic. It has gotten me this far. If you had told me that I'd be deadlifting over 400 pounds, I would have laughed at that. I feel great. I'm still making some tremendous progress, and I feel like there's no end in sight when it comes to the strength. I'm psyched for the next competition, which right now I'm targeting for early May 4th or 5th, which is a Pennsylvania State Championship. I'm looking forward to setting some new PRs there. My focus is going to be with bench press. My new goal and promise to myself is to hit a PR over 300 pounds. Having come close to 292 in competition, I'm confident that in the next 6 months, I can actually achieve that 300 pounds. So that's going to be my main target goal. I expect that I'll be squatting over 400 in competition for the next one. If I can hit 400 plus in competition for squat, 300 for bench, and maybe, who knows, 450 for deadlifts, I'm going to have my points going up to a nice level. Still not qualifying for like a national competition, and that's going to be a way off. I'm all right with that because I really wasn't expecting to be a competitive powerlifter. So I want to give thanks to several people. First and foremost, my sweetheart Michelle, who took all the video of the meet. She did a fantastic job. I appreciate your support as always. Next up, I want to thank Jordan, who supported me as well, stuck it out for all those hours. Next, I want to thank Brandon, who texted me and checked in during the competition. And finally, I want to thank all of you for not only following the meet prep series, but also wishing me well. If you have any questions or comments, please drop that in the comment section below. I appreciate your support as always, and I'll catch you on the next one.